What's good, y'all? Welcome to Rosemary Radio, our weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whenever we feel like doing it, podcast hosted exclusively on our YouTube channel where we discuss everything we loved and everything we hated since the last time that we recorded. I am joined once again here alongside Uncle Kevin. How are you today, Kevin?
I'm great. Living that uncle life.
Living that unky life.
Yeah.
Memorial Day weekend. Did you send it?
Yeah, man. I went up to the cottage, did some grilling. My nephew was there with me. My cousin brought her kids. My kid was there, obviously. My brother-in-law and I jumped into a lake, and it was super cold.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like it's too early. Like, it's May, and we haven't had enough, like, hot days for the lake to really warm up yet, where, that shit is. Yeah.
And the girls were in it. My daughter, who's almost 5, and then my cousin has twin girls who are 6. So the 3 of them were like wading in the lake. Like, I let them like roll their pants up a little bit. Somebody left all the kids with me at one point. I don't know, but whatever.
You're just uncle full send, dude. You
know
what I mean?
It was like I'd been drinking since like 10 a.m. and it was like mid-afternoon. And they're like, "Yeah, Kevin, take him to the lake." But anyway, they're like rolling their pants up and just kind of wading in the water and skipping rocks and stuff. And then their pants started to get a little bit wet. And so then we just, the other mother and I had to like just make a decision. Are we going full send here or what? And so like we put bathing suits on them, put bathing suits on us just to protect. And then my brother-in-law, Banjo, who I'm sure some viewers here know Banjo personally, know that he's never one to shy away from doing something silly. He put his suit on and didn't even put a toe in the water. He just jumped off the dock right into the water. So
there's nothing you can do. If he would have put the toe in there, he would have second guessed himself.
And I'm not one to be one-upped. So yeah, I jumped into it. It was really cold.
Yeah.
Really cold.
Yeah, I mean, we spent all day Saturday outside, like, just kind of doing yard work. Like, finally got the mulch around, like, in the front of the yard and mowed the lawn, did the weed eating, pulled a bunch of weeds and stuff. We hung string lights, like, in our back.
Yep.
Sorry, we didn't. My dad did it, dude.
Right.
I didn't do a goddamn thing. Yeah. But we have, like, 2 posts up in the back now, and we had, like, string lights running to the house and then running straight across, and it looks super nice. Like, we've always wanted to just be able to go out there and like have a drink and hang out in the backyard at night, but there's no light out there whatsoever, so it would just be pitch dark and like we couldn't stay out for that long. So we finally have like actual lighting back there so we can stay out for an extended period of time, so that's nice. But that was like my first question I had for you, is just like, as a, I'm 31 now. I'm 31 years old. And when it came to like, I bought the string lights, I bought the posts, and I knew the job that needed to be done. But I was just like, I'm not going to do this. Like, it doesn't seem like something I'm either not capable of doing it, or I just like don't like think that I'm capable enough of doing it. And it's just like, is this like youngest sibling syndrome where like I just like, I like my parents to do everything for me still, and I'll never like quite grow out of that? Do I think I need to have a child until I'm like fully feel like an adult, and that's when like once you're dad you feel like you're fully grown? Or is it the fact that like I grow up as like I was the computer kid, you know what I mean? Yeah. I was the one that like if my parents didn't know how to do something on a computer, I can help them with that. And like I was always like digital this, digital that, and not so much manual labor that. Yeah. So we're like, my brother's the complete opposite. He's the one that's out there like doing everything on his own. His fucking, his heater breaks or something goes wrong in his house and he's just on it and he can fix it. Where I'm just like, I'm going to call somebody and just take care of this now.
I don't know if any of those things are necessarily indicative of being grown up. You're not grown up. I'll just.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Now. You're definitely not. But, I mean, I am a dad, so there are certain things that.
Kevin, does this not look grown up to you?
But
does these not look grown up? When you get my Pokemon cards behind me, am I not grown up?
No, you're grown up once those start getting replaced by highlights magazines, because that's what you have to play with. So we do a lot of look and find at my house. No, I don't think any of that's indicative of growing up. I mean, my dad still helps me with a lot of stuff because there's a lot of like handyman type stuff that I'm just not confident in. But I will say, like, becoming a parent does give you confidence to try to do things more. And I got more into dad type stuff then. So I think that's kind of that's the final step for most men, is like you'll be an adult when you have a kid, because then you have no choice.
Because I was even talking to Megan where it's just like, if we, say we're going to a Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow, I still feel like I'm at the kids' table. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of young kids within my family.
Yeah.
Like, my brother doesn't have kids. We don't have a lot of like cousins or anything over that have kids or anything. So when it comes time to like for dinner, it's like my aunts and my uncles and my parents and the grandparents, they sit around the table and like Megan and I pull out the TV trays and go sit on the couch. You know what I mean? And I don't dislike that. It's super comfortable. But I feel like I'm permanent kids table.
We kind of talked about that too at a Thanksgiving within the last couple of years. I have a cousin. There's a big group of the cousins that were all within like 5 years of each other or so. And so we would always kind of sit together at the kids' table growing up. Mm-hmm. And but one of my cousins a couple Thanksgivings ago made a comment about like the kids' table. And I was just, and I was like, we're all in our 30s, like the youngest one of us at the time was my sister, who I maybe was 28 then, but like, we're in our 30s. Like, is it the kids' table? And we just realized we kind of think the same way about it. Like, we don't really know how else to describe it. Most of us have our own kids now. And she actually, the same cousin was at camp with me this weekend, and she tried out a new phrase for the older generation. She called them the elders. And they did not like that. So so we're still workshopping what to...
Hey, maybe it's 40. Maybe it's 40.
What to refer to the different generations as, and I don't know.
I'm just thinking maybe it's not 30s, it's 40s. And like, we're all like, they say 30's the new 40. You know what I mean?
I think maybe that's what we got to do is we got to shift everything, because the kids now are definitely like the kids that we all have. Those are the kids. Mm-hmm. So we're the parents now, and then we're just shifting who were the parents to grandparents, because we used to say kids and adults, but now there's 3 generations and everyone lives longer, so you just gotta it's like grandparents, parents, and kids. That should be the generations.
Yeah, it's like I'm waiting for it to happen, like mentally. Like, I feel like I'm just like the spawn of a generation that would just rather not. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I see my neighbors like outside, like doing all this yard work and like working on this and working on that. And Megan and I are like looking out the window, like eating a Hershey's bar, ready to go watch a Netflix special. Like, I'm just like, I'd rather not do that yet, but we'll get there.
I love yard work though. I do.
So I do, like, to an extent. Like, I love being out on Saturday, just like, doing the mulch, mowing the lawn, like doing like those little projects that like it's the big ones, like the ones that involve hardware. You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel you on that.
But anyways, moving on. This is the show we talk about what we loved and what we hated. So something that I know that we loved in the last couple of weeks that was released was the trailer for the Eternals that we've been, teaser. I know we don't want to say full blown trailer, just a teaser. I mean, first off the rip, what's the difference between a teaser and a trailer?
So this feels like the debate we had on the Funny Business podcast about like what's the difference between an EP and a full length. I mean, I almost think it's up to whoever created it. Like there are those couple bands that you and I listen to that put out like 6 and 7 song albums that would have traditionally been called an EP, but like it's their thing. So so I think in a sense, like if Marvel Studios is releasing it and they say it's a teaser, then it's a teaser. I don't know if it can't be length or anything, because I mean that teaser, that was like 2.5 minutes long. And I mean, you don't see, so maybe the difference with a teaser is you don't get a ton of narrative in it. Like all it really did was introduce characters. We didn't see the villains.
To me, it's always been like how much it gives away. Where like a teaser is just like, here's a few random shots, not a lot of dialogue, just like somebody talking over top, and then like that's it. It just gives you a tease. Where like an actual trailer is going to give you dialogue between characters and like kind of flesh out like, oh, I see where this story is going to go. I think like that's kind of the main difference. Yeah. But yeah, Eternals trailer. What'd you think?
I loved it. I mean, it has the aesthetic that I thought it was going to have, where it's very like rich looking, and I knew it was going to be one that they've been talking about it spanning thousands of years. So I thought this would be the first time in Marvel that we're getting like really, really old stuff, which I think is neat.
So speaking of that, they don't age, right? So like they're eternal. So you're right. Yeah. So like it spans thousands of years, but they can use the same actors. They don't have to show them growing up because they're just going to look the same throughout. Yeah. I came to that realization like last week after knowing nothing about who
I still really don't know a ton about the characters themselves. I mean, I know like just based on like a quick glance at like a Wikipedia article about them when they announced that they were making it, and then especially when the cast came out, and I was like, wow, this cast is stacked. So now I'm excited for this. But anyway, I like looked it up a little bit, and I know just enough to be excited, but I kind of want to go into this one blind because
Mm-hmm.
I feel about this the way I did about a lot of the Marvel properties beforehand. Because prior to the MCU, like I knew Captain America, Hulk, Iron Man, kind of knew Thor, but then like that was sort of it. I didn't know any other characters because I grew up reading DC, so I was
Right.
pleasantly surprised like how much I enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther, Ant-Man, like all these new characters. So I want to go into this like really, really blind and hopefully enjoy the shit out of it.
See, I'm exactly opposite. So my birthday had passed. Well, first of all, on my birthday, we went to Ithaca and we stopped at a comic book store and I picked up some randos,
Yeah.
some Mighty Avengers, little Ms. Marvel.
Miss Marvel.
Yeah, just picked up a couple randos because like that's just the thing we do. Like now is when we go to a random city, we just pick. If there's a comic book store, I'll pick up a couple random comics. If there's a record store, we'll pick up a record that we want.
Yeah.
But for my actual birthday, I told my wife that I wanted the complete Eternals. What do you call it? Complete omnibus. Yeah, the complete saga. I mean, it's got all these comics in it. It's a hell of a shit ton. It's pretty much all of the Eternals comics. There's an Iron Man one here. 1, 2, 3 Avengers ones, and I thought they're just no, never mind. It's okay, yeah. So 1 Iron Man, 3 Avengers, and the rest are all Eternals. So my goal is to finish this thing by the time that the movie comes out. So I have until November. And
have you read any of it yet?
I've read this many.
Oh, okay.
Page 21, I think. Yeah. So I started to read it, but then I decided I am also reading the Seth Rogen book right now, which is super, super, super good. I highly recommend that too. And I'm like halfway through that. So I want to finish that first so that I'm not like jumping back and forth between two things.
A little off topic, but just wondering for, listeners / watchers here. I let you borrow Civil War.
Yeah.
Did you read that?
About halfway also. It all happened at the same time. We're like,
gotcha.
I got that, and then I got the Seth Rogen thing, and now I'm just like, I'm trying to, so I'll finish Civil War also before I jump into Eternals.
I know because we had talked a lot about on the various different podcasts and videos that we do about like, the MCU, and I think that reading the Civil War timeline's like really, really important to that to make you like fully understand the context. So yeah, we'll circle back to that.
But as far as the Eternals go, like it's weird for me because I feel like as much as everybody that listens to our shit knows that like I'm not like a fantasy type of guy where like I'm way more into like sci-fi, Star Wars, where fantasy, Lord of the Rings stuff, not my cup of joe. Where like Eternals kind of rides a line between all of it. It's a little bit like some shots you'll like, oh, this is like fantasy. Some shots this is sci-fi. Like it kind of just like it's a little all over the place, and that's why I'm excited for it because like what if this is like my little tiptoe into? What if after I watch Eternals, I'm just like, you know what? Give me Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? Maybe
I will watch Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, maybe this is what I need. But I don't know. I'm just really excited because like you said, the cast looks really, really good. Yeah. I mean, visually, it looks like it could be like Marvel's best movie. And I don't know. I'm just like from the moment it was announced, I think I just really am drawn to like the big cast movies, the movies that are just like way, way over the top as far as how many characters are trying to cover in that amount of time. So like all the Avengers movies, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, were like this ensemble cast of all of these Eternals and how we're going to make that work. Like it's just very, very interesting to me.
And it's interesting or like, smart of Marvel to do it at this point because the end of phase 3 did feel like a really big turning point for the MCU, and how they move forward is going to be very important because if they don't do it well, you're going to have people looking back on phases 1, 2, and 3 and being like, what a phenomenal piece of work that was. But they didn't, like phase 4 and beyond didn't continue. So I think what they're doing here that's really smart is putting out a thing like the Eternals that's really ambitious and really different and has a huge ensemble in it, because they almost can't lose with it, because if the Eternals takes off, you can make a few more of those. If it doesn't, there's so many characters in it that you can just cherry pick the characters that work and then integrate them into other stories. I mean, because you've had characters in the Eternals that have and you'll find this out as you're reading the comics too, that have like intermingled with the Avengers and that have intermingled with like the Guardians of the Galaxy, and you can pick and choose what actors you like and don't like if Eternals doesn't work. I was reading an article the other day about Kit Harington's character, Dane Whitman, who is the Black Knight. And they were saying that they think that his character would, if it works in the movie and if they do it the right way, his character would be a perfect replacement for Tony Stark in
right,
MCU moving forward, because he's a scientist and like he can kind of be that one that fills that role and is like a byline through all of the properties. And
right,
if you lock down a guy like Kit Harington, who clearly, having been in all of Game of Thrones, is no
right.
stranger to being in a big tentpole franchise. If you lock him down now while he's still young, I mean, you can get another 10 movies out of him and kind of keep the ball rolling. So I think it's really smart of them to do it in this way where they're kind of hedging their bets. And I think, this cast looks great. You've got a few actors in it that I think that, like Angelina Jolie and Salma Hayek don't strike me as the types that want to sign on to anything long-term, or Kumail Nanjiani, just because he's doing literally everything at this point. But a lot of these younger actors that are in it, you could see them being like, the heart of the MCU moving forward. Hi, Megan. And, you could see some of those older actors, and I feel bad saying that about them, but like see them just kind of doing a one and done thing.
Right.
To get it off.
Something we talked about before is just like how nothing in the MCU is more interesting to me than the blip. And how it affected everybody, and just seeing those different stories and stuff. So I think the thing that I'm most intrigued about the Eternals is just why now? You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what that's the teaser kind of like shows you, is just like, we've stood in silence for this long, and now it's we're gonna finally, like, so it's super interesting to me how it's just like, Thanos, who is in half Eternal himself,
right,
or whatever, is he somehow related to him all? So it's like, when it comes to the snap and like everybody disappears, it's just like, if you guys were just like, sitting alongside, like thinking that's not the time to emerge, then why now? And that's
I kind of have a thought on that I think everything that Marvel has put out post Endgame has dealt with the blip in a pretty like direct fashion, between Spider-Man Far From Home, WandaVision, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier have all like leaned hard into the blip and like what it did and how it affected people. So I think there's no way for the Eternals not to acknowledge that. And my thought was, you've got all these characters, these people, these like immortal, godlike people that have existed for centuries and have been essentially untouchable because they're immortal. I'm wondering if some or all of them got snapped. And maybe that is what made them say like, hey, there's now powers in the universe that like require us to take a more active role.
Yeah. I mean, 50-50 is 50-50. Like, if, I mean, if it could very well be possible that all of them, and that's the thing too, like this movie could take place like, or it leads up to, the years and years it builds up to telling that story to the point where they all get snapped back in. They're like, all right, we got to do this. You know what I mean? So like,
okay. There's like people are messing with the fabric of time and space.
Right.
And we have to get involved. So I'm excited for it. I think it's
same.
Great.
So speaking of that then, so we have the Eternals coming out. I pulled up pretty much all the new release dates that Marvel has coming out soon as far as TV shows and films. A couple of them are new. Within the last few weeks, they added a couple dates, changed a couple dates. So I figured we'd just review them real quick, talk about what we're most excited for. As far as the TV shows go, we've gotten WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Next Wednesday, we'll start Loki on June 9th. Yep. And then this summer at some point is the What If series. Hawkeye sometime in 2021, Ms. Marvel sometime in 2021, and I believe that's it for this year. Everything else is 2022, which is Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Yeah. And then TBA on Secret Invasion, Ironheart, Armor Wars, and the Untitled Wakanda series. So as far as 2021 is concerned, it's just Loki, What If, Hawkeye, Ms. Marvel, and that's it. So of those, what do you think you're most excited for?
Oh, Loki by a mile. Yeah, I mean,
that works out for you because that one's coming quick.
It's coming real quick. I have my doubts on whether they'll get both Miss Marvel and Hawkeye out this year. So
I hear you. I think so too, but at the same time, I feel like if those are going to come out late 2021, they need to always release those shows that are going to get people to continue their memberships, because around November is when that year-long membership that somebody signed up for is just ending, and they look at, do I want to keep this thing or not? So they like to have, that's why the Mandalorian's always in November. I feel like they want to keep that around just for people to sign. Is there Mandalorian this fall? Do we know that?
No, I think Book of Boba Fett might be this
Yeah.
fall, but then Mandalorian is next year sometime.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like maybe they're gonna want like a couple big hitters this fall. So and if not those two, then what else?
Maybe they could. I mean, I know the Hawkeye series was actively filming, but that got stopped by COVID, so that could be iffy whether they get that done. The What If series, I believe, is all animated, so
yeah, it is.
They should have been able to get that done. We know Loki's in the bag, so like that should be good to go. So I'm a little. I want to doubt Disney and Marvel, but like it feels like it would be a lot to try to get those two squeezed in under within the year, but you never know.
I'm hopeful probably because I think of those three, I'm most excited for Ms. Marvel, only because I kind of like the younger kid stories. Like I love the Spider-Man story and just like how he's adapting to being a superhero, not the one where it's just like they're a big, strong adult man person. You know what I mean? Like I want the coming of age story at the same time. So I'm very interested in how they're going to handle that and how it's going to move into the Marvels movie that's going to come out the following year. So for movies, we have Black Widow on July 9th, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings on September 3rd. November 5th is Eternals, which we talked about just a little while ago. December 17th, Spider-Man No Way Home. March 25th, 2022 is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. May 6th, 2022 is Thor Love and Thunder. July 8th, 2022 is Black Panther Wakanda Forever. November 11th, 2022 is The Marvels. February 17th, 2023, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. May 5th, 2023, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. If you could watch any of those tomorrow, what would it be?
Oof. Spider-Man.
I hear you, dude. Christmas movie, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on. Everybody, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, whatever, they keep saying, oh no, like, don't listen to the rumors. It's not true. We're not going to be in it. What's your call? Are they in the movie?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm still on the fence. I'm not on the fence. I'm off the fence. I think they're in. I think they're trying to throw everybody for a loop. Yeah. And I think they just they want that big reveal saved for either the trailer or saved for the movie itself. Like, I don't think you can get past I don't think you can get all the way to the movie without it leaking out. So I think maybe they're saving it for that's how the trailer is going to end. They're going to look at each other and then trailer cut. You know what I mean?
Now, don't get me wrong. I think it'd be really cool as long as they do it the right way. Like if they're introducing a multiverse and they're going to, it'll basically just be cameos. Like I think there's a way to do it, which makes a lot of sense. But I don't know. I just feel like they're not going to. It just doesn't seem like Marvel's style. But
yeah, that is true. Because look at WandaVision. Like when you thought that they were bringing in Evan Peters to actually we're going to open this up and here's the multiverse. Like they just keep teasing the multiverse and then not giving it to us. You know what I mean? Like, oh wait, is he actually the same Pedro from the other universe?
Kind of salty about that. Like why cast Evan Peters? But
what if they're teasing us along with the whole multiverse thing, and then finally when Spider-Man comes out, they're like, here you go. You know what I mean? They finally give it to us, and that moves into Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which literally has multiverse in the title. So I think Spider-Man could be our segue into Doctor Strange, and that's when it's like, all right, we're opening it up, and now everything's,
I think for that very reason, that's why I picked Spider-Man among all the stuff that's on the upcoming slate that I want to see the most, because it's the one that I feel the most sure that I'll like. There's that, because I think we talked a lot about the Eternals. We don't know a ton about it. There's obviously, all new characters and stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to like it. And same goes with sequels. Sequels are tough. Like if the new Doctor Strange might not work, like the new Thor might not work. Whereas I feel like there's just almost no way that another Spider-Man movie with that same group coming back together doesn't work. So I'm the most excited for that one, and I'm the most curious about what they're actually going to do with it.
Yeah, I definitely want to see Spider-Man, especially with the idea that maybe there's going to be the multiverse, and the fact that it's apparently taking place during Christmas time and it comes out in December. It's going to be awesome to go see that a week before Christmas. And then second to that, probably Eternals, and then third, probably Guardians 3, but then fourth is Doctor Strange, because one, I'm ready for more Wanda. After WandaVision, I'm just ready to see where that takes us. And two, it's that you're getting multiverse in that movie, because like, I mean, I think the movie itself is going to be her like trying to get her children back. You know what I mean? And in order to do that, like that does involve a multiverse situation. In you know, Doctor Strange's probably going to be telling her like, don't fuck with that. Like, you know, like bad things can happen. This can happen. That can happen. But then I think that's just like that's going to change everything going forward. And that's
the
what I'm really
villain in
excited
that
for.
too? Didn't they have?
They announced the villain.
Good as the villain, I believe. I'm looking right now.
Not as good as Ant-Man and the Wasp, dude. King the Conqueror. Let's go.
Yeah, I know that's gonna be sick. So they have.
Yeah, I know there is one.
Villain.
But then they say who it was gonna be.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Nightmare. That's who the villain might be. They haven't said. I mean, Chiwetel Ejiofor is coming back as Mordo, who was like an ally in the first one and is a villain in the comics. So they could go that route and have him be the villain. But I think it'd make more sense to go a little bigger. Marvel's kind of going big on villains in the next few movies. You know, you've got the villains from the other Spider-Man properties coming back for this one. You've got Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher in Thor. Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror. And,
I can't wait. Like, I just hope it's not just for that movie. Like, get him going forward. Let's just make him a big ass villain.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Like, you can make him the next Thanos, and like I'm fine with that. Like, let's go all the way with that one.
You know, and I kind of hope they take their time with it. It would be. I think that would be the right timeline. Like, do a few one-off movies with like one-time villains, and then Kang the Conqueror comes in Ant-Man Quantumania, and set it up perfectly because we didn't get Thanos until like a few movies in.
So you're gonna have to have a big villain for the Eternals, right? So like, you know, we talked about
probably
like, you know, post snap, like is when they say like, you know, we finally need to do something. We did like at that point Thanos is gone, so it's no longer an issue. So why would they even need to come out? So like, there's got to be some big, no, it is going to be the Deviants for sure because that's what the whole comic book thing is about. But I'm just so excited, dude. There's who knows? I can't wait to find out. And like, I think like Loki is just going to be like a fun little like side story because I don't think that's really going to progress the story much because he's just popping from, you know, realm to realm. So like, what's really going on in that show? It's not going to like current time Marvel, like it's not really going to do much for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the one movie that we didn't talk about is the one that doesn't have a date. I think the only movie that's been announced that doesn't have a date. That's not true because Blade's somewhere in there too, isn't it?
Yeah, I think isn't Blade tentatively like 2023?
Yeah, I think so, but it's weird that it's not on this list that I'm looking at right now. They just kept it off. But the one movie, Fantastic Four, doesn't have a date. Nobody knows when it's coming out. But we know that it's going to be a thing. And it was in that teaser trailer thing that the most hype video ever that Marvel posted that makes you cry, that makes you cheer, that if you ever just want to feel something, say you're having a down day and you just want to feel, emotion, you want to feel excitement, you just put on that little Marvel. Oh man, if you haven't seen it, Google it. Just type in Marvel video. It's probably the first one that pops up. You know what I mean? It ends on the Fantastic Four note. So first off, when is Fantastic Four releasing, do you think? The last date we have is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, May 5th, 2023. When do we get Fantastic Four?
I think we maybe get it like Christmas time that same year.
I'd agree.
I mean, that'd be my thought at this point because right now we know the director is John Watts. Who's directed the Spider-Man trilogy for Marvel. And we know that Spider-Man No Way Home doesn't come out till December. So it'd be hard to imagine that he's really digging into that movie before this fall. Like as that movie goes into post-production, he can start pre-production on that, like casting, getting the script right and everything like that. So I think realistically at the earliest that starts going to pre-production this fall. Maybe we get a cast announcement this summer, but either way, it definitely doesn't see any kind of camera until like, spring or summer 2022. So I think at that point, if you're wanting this to be kind of Marvel's next big tentpole, they're going to take their time with it. So I think like a Christmas 2023 would make sense.
Definitely. Like I 100% agree that this is a fall like holiday Christmas release for sure.
I want them to take their time with it because there's a huge opportunity here to really make sure that Phase 4 and beyond works. Because what we were talking about before, with Phase 3 feeling like an end for a lot of characters. I mean, obviously, Steve Rogers is gone, Tony Stark is gone, Natasha's gone. I think to a certain extent, it feels like Bruce Banner / the Hulk is maybe not coming back in any,
Right.
like definitely not getting his own movie. And
yeah, he'll be in She-Hulk. He'll make an appearance. Like I'm not
Right,
sure
like,
to what
but-
extent though.
And to a certain extent, it's almost like the entire original Avengers are kind of gone, because we know that Thor is passing off the hammer to Jane Foster. We know Hawkeye had essentially retired prior to the last two Avengers movies and sort of came out of retirement for this. I'd have to imagine he wants to go back into retirement. So that's a pretty big gap. I mean, because if you think about it, like right now, if they made another Avengers movie, like who are the characters?
It's Young Avengers, I think, is the next time we
You know,
get that.
yeah, it's got to be like,
because
I mean,
that's the thing is Hawkeye is going to be the daughter, right? Eventually, like that's going to be just
it's not
Hawkeye.
his daughter, but it's a girl.
Yeah, and I think like between them, between Wanda's children, like you're leading into a new Young Avengers thing,
right? So, but I think if Marvel's smart, they want to set up their next big tentpole, and I don't know if they ever do Avengers again. I think you're right. I think they maybe go Young Avengers, but then another team up movie would make sense. And Fantastic Four is the ultimate team up movie because they're already a team,
right?
They've been referred to as the first family of Marvel and everything, and it's just an absolute. It's a travesty that they haven't been able to get this right. But Marvel, as like Disney / the MCU, like they never took a crack at it. It was always, I think it was Sony that owned them before, that made the first two. Now, having said that, the first Fantastic Four with Chris Evans as the Human Torch has some fun moments in it. It's got some good stuff. I think watching it prior to all of the MCU stuff come out, I probably judged it a little more fairly. Now, when you look at it versus the MCU, which is definitely an unfair comparison, but when you look at it versus that, it's like not even close. But it has some moments in it. The second one is terrible. They did Rise of the Silver Surfer, and that was absolute trash. Then they made that version with Miles Teller a couple years back, and Michael B. Jordan was in that one. And I tell you what, the first like 45 minutes of that, I remember watching it and just being like, this is pretty good. Like, I don't know why people are shitting all over this movie. And then you get about 45 minutes in and I'm like, oh, this is why it's awful. It's completely terrible. Like it sets all the characters up really well. It does all that incredible, but then it just goes off the rails. Like basically once they get their powers, it just goes off the rails and it's absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very hopeful that they can do this and get it right.
All right, perfect segue then. If I know that you have been prepping for this, Fantastic Four fan casting.
Yes.
You've got two different variations of your fan casting. You've got one that is just if it was up to you, if you could absolutely do it and this would be amazing, this is who you would pick. And you've got one realistic list as to who you think could actually play these roles.
Now, having said that, I think in my mind, I think both lists work. And that's why I did that.
One's just more reasonable. Both work, but one's more reasonable.
The realistic one, I think, I have a reason that each of these people, I think, works specifically for that role, but also are at a point in their career where they realistically would jump into something where they'd have to sign like, a 3, 4, 5 picture deal and like would want to do that. They're all the right age that they can do it now and like, sign up for 10, 12 years worth of movies. And also I think that I picked people that are interesting and aside from one person in it, don't have any experience with like major tentpole franchises, but they should. And then I have my kind of crazy list. And that is just like, if money's not an option and, these actors' opinions about work are not an option, I just think all of these people would do great. And I have
we'll
one
call
thing.
The Disney blank check option.
Blank check, yeah.
Yeah.
So my realistic one, I'm just going to tell you, I have the Fantastic Four, and I'm just assuming the villain's going to be Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Which makes the most sense. But part of me thinks they might not do that because the last two versions of Fantastic Four have also done Doctor Doom. But he is their best villain. Like he's the one they're most known for. And it would be cool to introduce Doctor Doom because he's another character I think that could be a potential successor to Thanos as far as like the ultimate big bad. But so then in my crazy list, I'm going to call it, I don't have Doctor Doom as the villain. So I will leave it
wherever you want to start, whichever one you want to start.
I was going to leave it up to you. Do you want the crazy list first? Or you want the realistic list first?
Realistic.
Okay. And I have visual aids for this one, just in case people don't know.
I've got a tab open too, so as you say them, I'm going to Google it so I can really find out who these people are.
I think you're going to know all these people. But
okay, good for me.
Yeah.
Would Sean know these people?
No. Oh God, no.
No. Okay.
No. Now, when I describe them, he has seen movies and TV shows with all of them in it. But yeah, no, Sean won't know who these people are. All right, so my realistic list. So we're casting Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, Ben Grimm, and Doctor Doom. For Reed Richards, I am choosing Lakeith Stanfield.
Oh, nice.
So has never really done like anything major. I mean, he's been in some good movies. Had a bit part in Get Out. He was in Sorry to Bother You. He was in Judas and the Black Messiah most recently. He's only 29 years old. Doesn't have
Atlanta.
his big... Huh?
Atlanta.
Yeah, I knew you. That's why I knew you would know who he was for sure.
So good.
So he can talk to his friend Donald Glover about what it's like to be part of a major franchise, because now Donald Glover has kind of dipped his toe in that pool a little bit.
I forgot about Donald Glover. Are we gonna get him in the next Spider-Man movie?
Maybe. But I feel like so back to Lakeith Stanfield. I feel like he can do a version of Reed Richards that really works, is true to the comics, and is fresh and doesn't remind us of the last two guys that played him. Like he can do the book smart, like kind of nerdy guy, but who becomes heroic. I think he really could do that very well. All right, so that's my choice for Reed Richards.
I'm still all on Rahul for that role.
I do like that one too, but
I love it.
I think he's a little bit older, and I'm aiming in my list for all people that are between the ages of like 27 to 35.
Gotcha.
Because I think Marvel is very cognizant of the fact that when they're signing people up for something new, that they want people that they can lock down for like 10 years. All right. Sue Storm / the Invisible Woman. I am choosing Lily James. So she's in the news lately because she is playing Pamela Anderson in a biopic. But she played Cinderella in Disney's live action Cinderella remake.
Oh, okay. Baby Driver.
Yep. So another, she's already worked with Disney. She's the right age. Pretty much looks like Sue Storm already. She's a hell of an actor. So like, I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, I think this one is one I feel like I might hit the nail on the head with this one. If she doesn't get cast in this role, I think she's on the short list. So anyway, cool. For probably everyone's favorite character from the Fantastic Four, Johnny Storm / the Human Torch, previously played by Chris Evans in one of the older versions. I am choosing Dacre Montgomery, who plays Billy on Stranger Things. This guy. Oh, okay. This is a bad video.
Yeah. I got him. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's the right age. He tried to get in with a franchise with Power Rangers that I still think is a little bit underappreciated. It's not a great movie, but it's a fun time. And he played the Red Ranger in that. So he definitely won't shy away from doing a big franchise type of role. He's young. He can do that kind of cocky, arrogant Johnny Storm thing that we want to see, that Chris Evans nailed the first time around. I mean, Chris Evans is absolutely the best part of those first two Fantastic Four movies. You can see why Marvel didn't really hesitate to just cast him, even though he'd already been in another Marvel property. So that's what I've got for Johnny Storm. All right, Ben Grimm, or The Thing. This one, to me, the Ben Grimm character, the voice has to be there. The voice is very important because it's most likely going to be like a motion capture role. But you need someone to play Ben prior to him changing into the Thing. I wanted someone who I thought would have good chemistry with Lakeith Stanfield, because I'm gonna go with the same story that they've used a few times in the comics, where like they were friends growing up and stuff, and like that Ben was kind of the muscle to help out Reed. And I'm also I'm gonna do something that has happened a little bit so far, but not enough. I'm gonna have Marvel steal somebody from DC, because I have an actor who is underused in the DC universe that I think is essentially dead. Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg in Justice League, and he may have been in one of the other movies too. But anyway, you can see that's Ray Fisher. Yep. So I've got Ray Fisher playing Ben Grimm.
Okay.
And I think it's believable that he would be kind of the muscle. That's one thing that the last version of it sort of messed up a little bit, to have Jamie Bell play Ben Grimm to Miles Teller's Reed Richards, like, kind of didn't work for me. I mean, I guess he's scrappy, but like, I sort of want my Ben Grimm to be like sort of a bruiser beforehand. And I think, you know, classically trained actor, so he's got a great voice. Like, he'll nail the motion capture part of it, because I think when you watch the Snyder cut of Justice League, you realize how underutilized and underserved Ray Fisher's character was.
Right.
And I think it sucks.
The little amount of that movie that I watched, like, that was my favorite. Like,
yeah, he was
story
great.
That was going on. Yeah.
So Marvel, you can save Ray Fisher. Bring him into the Fantastic Four. Hell, I wouldn't be upset about Ray Fisher playing any of these roles aside from Sue Storm, of course. But
yeah.
I think I like him as the Thing the most. And then finally, for my choice for Doctor Doom, I'm choosing Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise in the
movies. Let's go.
Young, can do like the slightly European accent, so if you want to go that angle, it would make sense for him to be a kind of a contemporary of Reed and Sue. So I think that really works. You know what I almost picked for this one too, and then I almost saved it for my crazy list. I had a thought, like, what if they painted Doctor Doom this time around as more of like a mentor as opposed to someone that's their contemporary? Because a lot of times he's about their same age and he's a villain in that sense. But I thought, wouldn't it be more interesting if maybe he was a mentor of theirs and then turned bad? And in the mentor role, if they go that route, I wanted Mark Hamill.
Interesting.
Because the voice, like, he would absolutely kill it. Because obviously once he becomes Doom, you're not going to see his face a ton. He'd kill the voice acting part of it. But wouldn't you just love to see Mark Hamill in a live action villain role?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. But
I mean, he already was.
What?
Child's Play.
Live action.
Oh, okay, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah, I was saying, because he's very famously played the Joker for years and years and years too. Like, he can do the villain thing. I would just like to see him do a live action villain. So I think that'd be really fun. But I think it's more likely, if they do Doctor Doom, they probably pick a younger actor so that they can use Doom in future franchises. So what do you think of my realistic list? Does it make sense? I mean, everybody there,
I love it.
Everybody there should be affordable. They're in a point in their career where they don't have a franchise and would want a franchise, and I think it makes a ton of sense. As much as I love the fan casting of the last 5 years of just having John Krasinski and Emily Blunt play the two characters, like it looks like that's pretty much dead at this point. Like, she doesn't want to do it, and if she doesn't want to, I don't imagine he wants to.
Yeah, I mean, he's, you know, with Quiet Place, I think he's like just dipping his toes into doing more directing, and he's gonna keep kind of heading in that direction. Like, he wouldn't want to be tied down to something Marvel related. I think.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, so let's do the crazy one.
All right, crazy list. So, Reed Richards, and I have no pictures for this because these people are all well known enough that everyone knows who they are. Reed Richards, Ryan Gosling.
Okay, I'm in so far.
Never doesn't even appear to have sniffed a superhero property. Like, I don't even remember ever hearing.
I don't know, his character from Drive, dude, is pretty heroic.
Right. Yeah. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't. You know, and I looked it up. I did a little research on it, but like, I don't ever remember being like, oh yeah, Ryan Gosling's like auditioning for this role or whatever. I mean, maybe when when the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was out, I mean, maybe he auditioned for something like that, but like, hasn't even been around a comic book property, and that's kind of crazy. So, Ryan Gosling, and he would nail the same thing I said about Lakeith Stanfield. I think he would nail both aspects of the character, like the kind of the brainy scientist portion of it, but then the heroic part. I think he would nail that. Sue Storm, Daisy Ridley.
Love it.
I love it too. I think I would like her even more than Lily James. The only reason she's on my crazy list is I don't know if Daisy Ridley is going to want to get back into a major franchise again so soon, because I don't know if she had the best experience.
And also it's just like, we don't know that she's done being Rey from Star Wars as far as like solo films or whatever else comes in the future, and it's like having her tied down to two franchises and like Disney pulling at her from two different angles. Like, man, that's a lot. Yeah.
All right, Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. So I did something here that I think is pretty genius. So they've had two Human Torches so far, and then both of them ended up in the MCU. Okay. Because Chris Evans played him in the first one. In the second version, Michael B. Jordan played him, and then they both ended up in the MCU. I'm going to go the opposite direction. I'm going to pull a character from a prior Marvel property that was not part of the MCU. So my crazy Johnny Storm is Andrew Garfield.
Oh.
So we pull Andrew Garfield back into the MCU, or really not back in, just we pull him in for the first time.
Yeah, the only way that wouldn't work is if the new Spider-Man movie has him in it.
Right. Then it doesn't quite work. But
yeah.
He would absolutely nail this part.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He would do great. Ben Grimm, I went a little against type from what I was talking about before on the realistic list. This is more based on the fact that I think this guy could bulk up a little bit and he can look like a fighter, but like the voice part he will nail is Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh wow.
I mean the voice part of it, he'll kill it. So that would be good. And then for my villain, I'm not choosing Doctor Doom. Mm-hmm. I am choosing to both resurrect an actor that I want so desperately to be in the MCU by bringing in a character that I really desperately want to be in the MCU. And that is that I want Hayden Christensen to play Namor the Submariner. And
Googling.
Yeah, Google. Yeah, I mean, you know who Hayden Christensen is, but
yeah.
We know he's in the Obi-Wan series, so we know he's back on Disney, or well, just on Disney's radar, because obviously Star Wars wasn't part of Disney.
Oh, so you just want to see that hard body, huh?
Yeah, man, I want to see that hard body. What made me
think about see him dancing around a truck. Also, so there's another picture of him here where he's got, he's just bearing the chest. He's got a vest on and pants and everything. So,
Well, and what made me think about it was I was trying to think of like where is a role that we can get Hayden Christensen into the MCU. He's in the Obi-Wan series, so he's on Disney's radar. Like, let's resurrect this guy's career.
But what's that body looking like these days?
I don't know, but dude, I mean, if you watch,
he needs to be ripped. Like every single picture I've seen.
So here's the thing. I know I'm doing a Star Wars rewatch, much like you are. When I was watching Revenge of the Sith, that's what made me think he can be a superhero. Like he was shredded in that movie.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would take that much. And I think for a guy like him that maybe wants to resurrect his career, I think he could do it. Now, he could also play Doctor Doom.
It's a no-go, Kevin. It's a no-go.
It's gonna work.
I just Googled Hayden Christensen 2021. I'm not trying to body shame, but as far as like being in a superhero movie where you need to be jacked, he ain't it.
He'll just get jacked.
It ain't. I'm just saying, I think we need like a Vin Diesel or The Rock in this role. You know what I'm saying?
No, he'll get jacked. Like Namor does. I mean, look at every character. Look at Captain America's like body type in the comics. Like they all look like ridiculously jacked. And then
I didn't know he was with Rachel Bilson.
Yeah,
look at those two.
Yeah, look at him. But I would love to have that character come in anyway, and he's not necessarily known as a Fantastic Four villain, but he has been before. He's kind of an anti-hero. He's been I know he's been a villain for Black Panther and for Iron Man before. So I just want that character in, and I want Hayden Christensen in. I want Disney to say like, hey, you got the shaft with Star Wars. We're going to resurrect your career. We're going to bring you in and let you play one of these new characters. I also threw out there in one of the other podcasts we did that he should play Wolverine when they finally resurrect the X-Men.
There you go.
That's the thing. You can get, any number of X-Men that Hayden Christensen could play as well. I would just like him to be in Fantastic Four because I'm looking forward to this movie. I want it to do well, and I want him to do well because even though his performance in episode 2 and most of 3 was dog shit, I know he's a better actor than that, and I think he got a bum deal on it. So,
how far away from a cast announcement do you think we are?
Oh, I think it's a while.
It's like it's not even happening in 2021.
I think, well, like I said before, I don't think this movie's even sniffing pre-production until the fall of this year. I think there's a chance maybe they sign some actors early, but you got to figure if they're on a schedule where this is the next thing that John Watts is doing, he doesn't start pre-production until the fall. He's not going to start shooting until 2022. So why even bother lining up the cast this?
Well, the best chance for an announcement, I feel like, what was it? Is it last fall that we got that, like, it wasn't D23, it was like their Investors Day, like where they announced all the Star Wars and all the Marvel shit. I feel like something like that is where we're going to get it. You know what I mean? It's going to be revealed first or something like that.
I feel like if we get any casting for Fantastic Four in 2021, it'll most likely be later in the year. It'll be something.
Or maybe they want to save it. Maybe it's such a big announcement that they want to save it for when they can have a live audience, and they do have some sort of D23 in 2022. You know what I mean? Next year, when they can bring a crowd in and really like reveal it, like maybe that's what they want to save it for.
Like
and, like
how cool,
bring the cast up and do the interview and everything. And
how cool would it be if they announced the cast of the Fantastic Four in like a crowded room, and they just bring the 4 actors out?
Yeah, like, so I'm saying one by one, they announce who's playing each role for the first time that you're going to see them, and they're going to walk on the stage and like answer a couple questions. Like,
like there's a part of me that thinks like Marvel has looked at the things that they've had to do over the last year, where they've sort of had to half-ass some things, and it's fine. I think they like the spectacle and the pageantry and all that, so I think you could see them kind of gearing it more towards that.
Yeah,
but anyway, that's my list. I'm sure you've prepared something as well, so go ahead.
Nope, absolutely not. Nope, I know nothing about the Fantastic Four. I don't think I've seen any of those old movies, and I'm just going to agree with you. Ditto. You know what I mean? Whatever you said. I liked all your picks on both. But what if it's just like a blend of both? You know, what if they just take a couple from this and a couple from that, and mash them together? Yeah,
I guess my perfect list then would be Lakeith Stanfield. I still go with him. He's in my realistic list, but the more I thought about it, I'm like he would just be so damn good. But then Daisy Ridley, Andrew Garfield, Ray Fisher, and Hayden Christensen. I would take this list.
There it is. There's the official list.
That's it.
So then, yeah, before we go, anything you hated this week or in this month? I guess since the last time we recorded, Kevin.
Hate. No, you know what I did today for the first time?
What's that?
I went to a movie at the movie theater.
You did?
I did.
Wow, to see what?
Raya and the Last Dragon. And yes, before you say it, yes, I do know it will be free on Disney Plus in a couple days.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I know it's out on DVD now. I didn't know what the Disney Plus date was.
It said it's going to be available to watch on Disney Plus on the 4th or something like that. So why did I pay like $33 to go see it? Because my daughter wanted to go see it.
Yeah. How was it, though?
What's that?
How was it?
I really enjoyed it. It's really, really fun. The story is very, very, very basic. I mean, it's essentially the same story as Moana.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much start to finish, it's the same story as Moana. But I have to say, like, this, very much like Moana, it is some of the most beautiful imagery that Disney and Pixar has ever done. I mean, and I noticed things like, I know this is kind of weird, but like the character animations, I noticed stuff on the characters, like texture wise, that I've never seen in Disney stuff, that they were like the skin on the characters and like the way that their hair interacts with wind and stuff like that just looked so much more realistic. And like at one point they were zoomed in on one of the characters kind of close. It was her father, and he had like a sleeveless shirt on, and you could see on his arm, like his shoulder, there were like little tiny like wispy hairs like up here, like they had body hair involved.
Yeah.
Like the detail in it, like stuff like that, and like his goatee, just the way it was, the character design's gorgeous, and like the setting's obviously really beautiful. The story is incredibly basic, but like it's perfect for kids. Like some of the dialogue's pretty like kid centric. Some of it's very dark though. Like it's PG, and it definitely deserves PG. But this was going to get towards what I wanted to get to. It's not something I dislike. It's something I feel like I don't get. Like, you know, when you and I have talked before about, like, I'll use the 1975 as an example. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I can recognize that it's good and like people like it and it's fine. It's just not for me. So the actress Aquafina, I got nothing. I don't get it. I don't see it.
I'm there with you. I think I like her. Like, I've seen her interviews and like stuff where like she just seems like a nice person, but like she had a show called I forgot what it was even called, Aquafina something. It's the long title on Comedy Central.
Yeah.
And I remember like being like, oh, I'll check this out. Like, I like her, and like I got nothing from it. Like I didn't laugh once. I didn't think it was funny. Like it's just one of those things where it's just like, I think I appreciate her and I like her and I'm happy I love it for everybody else, but for me, I'm just like,
so I absolutely despise her name. I think that is so ridiculous.
This doesn't bode well for Shang-Chi and the
well, that's what I was gonna get to. Is like I'm feeling nervous about it because like I just don't like the thing. Like her voice annoys me, and so she's the voice of the dragon in it, and I really disliked almost everything that involved that character because of it. Because let me tell you what, I think I'm the same way. Like, I've seen her in interview shows and stuff, and she is delightful and I think genuinely funny. But then I struggle a little bit with her voice, and when it's only her voice, I'm like, man, whew.
And that was the thing. It's just like, I was excited because like it seemed like the show was just, you know, I love like certain Comedy Central shows, Workaholics, Broad City. And it was like, cool. Like, I want to check out these original Comedy Central shows. And it's just like, I straight up watched the first episode and didn't laugh once. And like, a lot of it was pretty cringy. And like, I'm not a huge fan, but maybe Shang-Chi is the one that does it for us, Kevin. Maybe that's going to be it.
I'm very hopeful for it. Everything else in it's fine, actor wise. I mean, Kelly Marie Tran plays Raya. The storyline in it is, again, very, very basic, but some of the like the twists and turns they did in it really worked. Nice emotional ending. Absolutely worth watching for sure. I mean, it's another, like, Disney nailed it again. Aquafina's real name is Nora. I think she should go by Nora.
Oh, that's such a good name. I love that name.
Nora Lum.
Casey and I recorded a mixtape years ago and named it Nora. That's how much I love that name. Yeah,
so I think she should go not call herself Aquafina anymore. That's silly.
So, Kevin, the only thing that I hate that I want to talk about.
I want to be clear. I don't hate Aquafina. For
I know. The terms love and hate we use very loosely on this show.
I don't get it.
Yeah, because like even with mine, like I don't hate the fact that I have so many hot dogs in my fridge.
Yeah,
I don't hate that. Like, I'm gonna eat them eventually, even though I don't love hot dogs. So this is kind of a borderline one, but I don't hate them either. But it's like, you know, we had a little cookout over the weekend and we got like 12 hot dogs, and I feel like when there's the choice between hot dogs and hamburgers, and also we had veggie burgers, everyone chooses burgers over hot dogs, and then you're left with a bunch of hot dogs and I don't know what to do with them all. So, Kevin, my question for you, so I don't hate myself, what do I do with these hot dogs?
Question one is, what type of hot dogs? We talking Hoffman's here?
No, I mean, they were like some like ones from like a nice farm from the mustard seed that were like, they're nice hot dogs.
So they're nice hot dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, so I have a couple things you can do, and they're both gross. So, in a good way.
If you're going to say chop them up and put them into my SpaghettiOs, then don't think I haven't thought of it already.
No, chop them up and put them in Velveeta shells and cheese.
Interesting. Like, so I have I have boxed macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, it's like an Annie's like organic one or whatever. So it's like you can feel good about it, you know?
Yeah. No, but the other thing you can do, and this is a thing that I've made a couple times in my life when I may or may not have been under the influence of something that created this meal. But if you take a couple hot dogs and cut them lengthwise to fold out flat, and then put them between two slices of bread and cheese, and basically make a grilled cheese with hot dogs in the middle, like, you make that work. If you're into such things, you can like cut them and make dunkers out of them to dip it in ketchup or some.
Is there any food more white trash than hot dogs?
Dude, I love hot dogs. I had a hot dog yesterday.
So did I.
Hot dogs, but they were Hoffman's, so. You know,
all right, well, that's pretty much it. Wait, before we go, I literally moments before we started this, I just finished the new Beau Burnham special. And I watch it. It's intense. Like, it's Netflix.
Oh, nice.
It's basically over the last year he's been recording this and writing and doing it all like in one room in his house, because like he was on lockdown. He didn't see anybody. He didn't do anything, and it's like it's heavy and it's cool, but it's funny and it's a little bit of everything. But I think we'll talk about that more on the Funny Business podcast once. I'm sure Sean's going to watch it. I'm sure Matt's going to watch it. So we'll all discuss it then. We're also, Kevin, I think we got to talk about aliens on the next podcast, because a lot's going to come out over the next couple of weeks.
I can't wait. Yeah, I think we can't podcast until we know more. I thought the thing I hate, I just got a notification. The Canadiens game started. You know what I hate? That they forced a game 7 and are giving me hope.
Yeah, hockey.
I hate that, because the Canadiens do not deserve to be in this series. They backed their way into the playoffs. They were playing like shit, and then they won a couple games and now forced to game 7. It'll please me to no end to have them beat the Leafs, who are up 3-1. That's perfect. But they're going to get asses handed them in the next series. So I hate that. I hate that they
you know what? Also,
playoffs and what the fuck, man? Like, what are you doing to me? Don't give me hope.
Also, it's not Leafs, it's Leaves. You know what I mean?
Well, but they're the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, but it should be Leaves.
Should be, yeah. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs should be dwarves, but
where do we go wrong?
Where did we go wrong? That's why I'm still pounding. I will pound this hammer all day. Like the plural of MILF is MILVs.
You heard it here. That's all for this week. Check out rosemary.media for everything else we do. Subscribe to this channel for future episodes, and we will see you next time.